Salam. This is video 3. And, as we said, now, again, the King of Kings was assaulted, right? In order that, the golden children, will be unable to recognize who they are and the great legacy they have been given, right? The heritage they have, okay? And the celestial blessing, that they have, and, the celestial position they have been placed in as the global leadership of the world, right? Okay. So, okay. Now, so we said Gemini is a transformation time. So Ummah, be prepared to transcend the Zionist plantation consciousness and be there no more. That you may ascend using the spiritual consciousness of the King of Kings. That you may transform yourself and be prepared for Dhul Qaeda 27, 14, 38, and August 21st to 2017. Okay, whereby America will be passed over and transcend or fall at the autumn equinox, right? Or fail, right? Now, so, and there are those such as Wade, the Judas crock of shit, robber's son. Okay, he is performing just as he was paid to perform. He's doing just as he was instructed to do, and that is to tell, okay, to perform his delusion in real time, to go on the circuit with it, with his delusion, okay, of the delusional relationship he had with the King of Kings, in order to destroy, again, to destroy his legacy, so whereby to diminish it in such a fashion to whereby desecrate it. They want to desecrate on his legacy to the degree whereby no one would even want to look at it. Oh, who would want to think about a child molester? Oh, he was weird. Oh, he changed his skin color. Oh, he was this. Oh, he messed with his nose. Oh, so he messed with his nose. He changed his skin color, and that made him weird. Oh, but he was child molester. Oh, but those people were out for money. They were fraud. Oh, but he did it anyway. He changed his nose. Those are just haters. Okay, but nonetheless, they want to bury his legacy. Okay, of who he really is. So if they discredit who he is, desecrate his legacy, you'll never know who you are. Okay? You will never know how profound you are. Okay? You won't know how profound you are if they continue to let the Wahhabis desecrate Hijaz and then blame the Muslims for it. You will never know how great you are, African man or woman, until you recognize who you are, and that is an Israelite, a Hebrew, one destined for greatness. Okay? And if you let someone walk and steal that legacy, then how can anybody blame the world for being messed up if no one's walking in their integrity, right? So you gotta walk in that, integrity. Okay? You gotta be you. Why be a servitude to someone pretending to be you? Why be a servant to someone who's pretending to be you? Why be scared of someone who's pretending to be you? Okay? That's you scaring you. You scared to walk in somebody else's, you scared to walk in your power and yielding it to someone else who's wielding it over your head to abuse you. But you're scared to stand in your power to assert, to get your power. Okay? All you gotta do is be you. Stand up and demand that those Zionists who are fake synagogue of Satan get out of the Holy Land of Jerusalem. And you, Muslim, stand up and say, I'm not a Wahhabi. And take Hijaz back. And that's the way you're going to do it. By letting the world know that the Holy Lands are occupied, colonized by the British. The one arm on the right being the Zionists and the left arm being the Wahhabis. And it's both of them that's killing the Muslims. What did Netanyahu say? Oh, if it came to fighting for the Syrians or against the Syrian rebels, he'd fight with the Al-Qaeda. So, and Al-Qaeda is supposed to be America's enemy, but they would fight with Al-Qaeda? America's supposed to be best friend, ally? No, that's because they're kissing brothers and sisters. Okay? They're kissing Zionist, Wahhabist, left and arm of the same British colony. So you got to stand up and demand the Holy Land be freed, decolonized. That's what you got to stand up and do. Demand that the Wahhabis, the end of the El Saud's Wahhabi kingdom. Okay, that's what you need to do. Tell the Muslims, tell the world, Muslims are not Wahhabis, and Wahhabis are not Muslims. Okay, and those Wahhabis come from the kingdom of El Saud, or Solomon Saud. Okay. Anyway, so there are those like Wade, the Judas cockroach, robber's son, who's like the Zionist Wahhabis, who's performing this act, okay, this paid performance to instruct and perform his delusion of what happened, to tell his truth, his fictional truth. That is to be all of his fictional truth is to be all of our current reality. Okay? Judas the cockroach, or the crocodile's robber's son, that's waiting in the water, the Zionist reptilian dragon, son of Scorpion, trying to take the soul of the King of Kings, okay, by trying to steal the legacy, bury the legacy, okay, so that the children, the golden children, all the children of the sun, all the children of the earth, now all the children and grandchildren of the golden children of the sun are to be buried behind Wade, Judas perjuring himself for a few 30 shekels, okay, and his reality, his delusion is to become all of our reality. About the King of Kings who fed, stopped half the world from starving for a whole decade. Gave a decade gave his wealth to stop the world from starving for a whole decade. How many humans then, So, and we're to overlook that for Wade Robeson's convenient, paid memory. Okay? There's another cockroach trying to get paid. All of the accusers of the King of Kings have all been trying to get paid. And Wade Robeson got a bit more invested in it. Because he's working for the Zionists. He's working for his own interest. Okay? So, like was the others, of course, but this one is a bit more deeper, right? Okay, because he was willing to perjure himself. He's willing to perjure himself now. Okay, he didn't perjure himself before, but now he's willing to perjure himself because he's Judas. Okay, of the prophet born of a virgin's time. Okay, he's to try to nail the legacy to the cross. Okay, so so that the children of the sun wouldn't find their way, right? The legacy will be buried under child molester, and the person's supposed to back away slowly, right? Drop the legacy and back away slowly, right? Anyway, it's a bunch of bullshit. So Judas the crocodile's son, okay, is to the robber's son, the Zionist reptilian son, right? a scorpion waiting in the water to consume the child born of the woman of Revelation 12, the legacy that's born of Michael Joseph Jackson, right? The one to lead the man to the virgin, to the prophet born of a virgin who's supposed to appear within, according to biblical times, within 7 years, right? Okay, so now Uma, we gotta pray, okay? We gotta pray now, where it's the holy times, okay? Where all these wonderful sacrifices are being made, all this barakah that's being obtained. We got to use this very powerful time to pray to Allah to block and defeat the infidels. Those two infidels, Zionist dynasties of British Rothschild Zionism and British Rothschild Wahhabism, okay? Both of them have to be stopped because they're both of the British Empire. British Wahhabism and British Rothschild Zionism and British Rothschild Wahhabism. That is who is sponsoring this ISIS, the British so-called Lords of London. So if they didn't want it to happen, if they didn't want Christians to be killed, they didn't want Muslims to be killed, they didn't want Jews to be killed, okay, they wouldn't be killed in that part of the world. There wouldn't be any false flags. There wouldn't have been a World Trade Center, okay? It was simply Rothschild acting on behalf of his Zionist and his Wahhabist arm, okay, of himself, okay? So, using his Wahhabi mercenaries, okay, to take the fall. Because they wouldn't have taken the fall in the first place. Because what? Muslims were to be, they did it Muslim guard. Because the Holy Land is occupied by the British Wahhabism, right? By British Rothschild Wahhabist. So Muslims, so they can do these acts from the Holy Land and make people think, oh, these are Muslims doing it. No, it's not Muslims doing it. It's the British Rothschild Wahhabists that are in occupation of Hijaz. That is where the terrorism is originating from. Okay? That is where the bombs are coming from. That's where the death and the killing of the Christians and the Jews and the Muslims are coming from. That's where all these false flags are coming from. Okay? And they're using all the wealth that they gained from taking up the Muslim countries. Okay? When they invade places like Iraq and get the oil, and they sell the oil and get what? And pay mercenaries. That's the way they got the barbarian hordes of, prior to the formation of Scandinavian times, okay? The Viking era, okay? The Danes era, or the Danish era, right? That's how they got their warriors before. They recruited them, okay, from all over the world. It's not Muslims. You're defeating yourself when you attack Muslims. Anyway, so the Wade Robinson is no different than the Zionists of the Wahhabis. He's a social terrorist. He's a social terrorist. Try to terrorize, what did he say? He would kill somebody if they done that. If what happened to him ever happened to his child, he would kill him, right? So he's implying, his truth is reality, so we should want to kill the King of Kings, right? So he's implying death, right? So he's a terrorist. Judas Robinson, the Robertson is a terrorist. Okay, continuing in the desire what it was at that, prior to 2009. And even at the time of 2000, up until 2009, let's put it that way, up until 2009, the plot was to kill him, right? Even was invited to the World Trade Center to be killed, right? To be a part of that attack, or be part, not a part of the attack, but be part of the, those who were harmed or placed, killed, in that Wahhabi Zionist attack, on the World Trade Center. And we got to remember those were people in those buildings. So it's much horrific if it looked on the outside to us who were watching those, those buildings being exploded. Okay, those buildings being exploded. Think about how it was for the people on the inside, who that rubble was crumbling down in their bodies, and the explosions. Think how, and the floor falling out from underneath their feet. Think about how scared they were, huddling together. Think about that, them saying their last prayers, if they even had time to do that. How horrific it was on the inside. Okay? So those Wahhabis, Zionists, those Zionists, British Rothschild Wahhabi Zionists, okay? To them that was a joke. But not for the people on the inside of those buildings, it wasn't a joke. It wasn't a joke from us who were watching it. But it was all, again, and the King of Kings was to be invited to that, to give a speech in that building that very day. So that's evident, again, that he was being targeted, like America was being targeted, because America is the nation that the sun is supposed to rise out of. Okay, the sun is supposed to be resurrected in the West. In the end times, that means the power's coming from the West. So, you're to get the back power. Where did the king rise? Where did the King of Kings rise? Where's the universe directing you? Okay? So, of course he was invited to the human sacrifice, the world trade, the big joke on America. If that had been, and then the passport conveniently flying into the hand of the man that says there was no bombs. But anyway, so that's to sack America and to sack the King of Kings, right? So that they could keep, so that the Rothschild Wahhabis, the Zionists, the British Rothschild Wahhabis Zionists could steal the legacy, right, of America and the King of Kings, right? Who's to lead them to whom? The real prophet born of a virgin, right? Not this olive Vatican unholy olive tree, just as a Pence covfefe drumpf. Okay, who's pretending he's the one to bring jobs, not peace, jobs. Okay, where are you gonna be like the 9/11? Okay, those people would, if they would have known that they were going to be part of the hoax that day, I don't think they would have been thinking about their job and how much it paid. Okay, so America needs to think again. Do they want their life or do they want jobs? Okay. Anyway, now, okay. So Ummah, pray that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will protect the Ummah, and the same fate that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala bestowed upon Judas the first time. Okay, the first Judas who sold his soul for shekels, 30 shekels. Let Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala bestow the same fate on this second Judas that's waiting in the Zionist water, the Zionist Wahhabi water, crocker shit of water. He's in the toilet. Okay? Let him get sucked up the drump's big ass too. Okay? Let him get shit sucked up the drump's big ass and shit out in hell. Okay? Let him get that Judas Wade Robertson, let him get the same fate as Judas. What happened to Judas? What Allah done to Judas? Because June 25th, 2017 will be the anniversary of the King of Kings. It will be the anniversary of his earthly transformation into the heavenly realm of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Ramadan. Okay. So this Ramadan video conversation, new Sagittarius full moon video conversation is for him. Okay, the King of Kings, Michael Joseph Jackson, and I want to thank him for being, a caring human being, that he lived his life, just to serving Allah and caring. Okay. Anyway, so Wade the crock of shit Robertson is the Judas of he's the Judas of the Bantu, of the King of Kings. He's a Judas of the Bantu, African, American Hebrew Israelite, the King of Kings. Okay, the King of Kings, born to the born to lead the global nation of Jacob, from who was born of who was a descendant of the Ethiopian kingdom of Judah. Now, so for Wade to wade on the side of the Zionists, he's wading on the side of himself. Okay, so he's just playing a part, of the means by which the legacy. You can't destroy. A person just can't overnight kill over 1 billion people and steal a legacy and change the Bible and the Quran and occupy 2 holy lands overnight. That takes years and years of planning. So, they knew they had it already planned as to how they were going to achieve, their goal. And Wade Robinson is just, he's just a pawn and though pawns can play key roles, he's just a pawn playing a key role because he had access, to the King of Kings, trust. And he still wants to be in his trust, so he's stealing from the chest, the heart, and trying to put it on. Oh, he needs it for his heart, right? For which he's willing to perjure himself for, right? So perjure himself again and again and again, right? Because that's what he's paid to do, to perform his truth over and over again and again. It's not our truth. Fuck our truth. We don't matter, okay? Just bury the legacy, bury the head, and that's his job. There is to come and try to bury the head, bury the legacy, so that the African people, the Hebrew Israelites, will not find their who he was, and therefore find out who they were. Okay, so the crocodile is waiting in the water to try to bury the Hebrew Israelite. Okay, the legacy of him. Okay. Okay. So Judas, he's a Judas. Wade Robinson is the Judas of Michael Jackson. Okay, he's Michael Jackson. He's Judas, perjuring himself over and over again. He's going to perjure himself again to tell his truth. Okay, to his truth, to which we should all believe. He's going to perjure himself again for us to believe his truth. Okay. Now, so, and as Judas claims, it is not for the money. Okay. Well, one of the reasons it's not for the money is because he's probably, as fortune would have it for him, he's probably already paid. He's probably already been paid. After all, it was when, Michael's mother sued AEG for the, wrongful death of her son. Sued him for $40 million, sticking it to them like they stuck it to her son, all those years, and causing his death and, the family great tribulation, great trauma, torment, and all of that, agony, so the family's sticking it to AEG like AEG stuck it to them. AEG fucked them, so now AEG deserves to get fucked. Okay, so anyway, to the tune of $40 billion. And then it's strange how once AEG gets ready to get it stuck to them, they don't like getting stuck like they were sticking the King of Kings all those years. So then they try to stick him with the perjury of Wade Robinson. And how interesting, after the mother stuck it to them, they didn't like it, and they came up with Wade Robinson's child molestation perjury again. And of course he didn't perjure himself the first time. And of course he's not perjuring himself this second time or the third time. Okay? Now, so, He's waiting in the water. He's probably already got paid 9 times out of 10. Okay? He's getting paid to perform his truth. His shitty Zionist Wahhabi truth to try to bury the legacy, so nobody will look. We'll keep that molestation on him, okay? So nobody will listen to the child molestation when it says heal the world, or they look at his credibility, his credentials, his celestial credentials, and saying that they won't listen. They won't follow him. They'll follow the drone. They'll follow this shitty-ass, dumbass drunk who's been associated with pedophiles, who's been father was a pimp, grandfather was a pimp, ran whorehouse and bordellos in the United States. It's supposed to have one in China as we speak. Currently, have a whorehouse in China. It's spoken that he wants to have a chain of bordellos. Been accused of rape, charged with rape. Runs around grabbing women's pussies, okay, and but yet follow that character. Follow the guy who has a chain of casinos. Follow him. He's the moral compass for America to follow. He's the one who's going to make America great again. He's the one who scammed America in the first place to go to his university, his trumped up university. But follow him. Don't look at. He's the moral one. He's the moral compass. But don't follow. The innocent one. Don't follow the one who tells you to love the children, who put the children first, who put the Christ-like consciousness. And you wonder why he was scared to grow up. He was scared to grow up because he didn't want to become like what he saw adults to be. Where they kill one another, starve one another, nations starve one another, all the war they do, all the pedophile on children, which he tried to protect them from. What the Vatican does, what the Trump does to children, stated to have done to Trump's friends have stated to have done to children, and what the prostitution of children, the heartlessness of humanity, how they abuse one another's hearts. So you wonder why he didn't want to grow up. He was scared to grow up. He was scared. He didn't want to become like you. He didn't want to become like the Drum. He didn't want to become like Rothschild. He didn't want to become like England's Elizabeth. He didn't want to become like those kings who have wealth and money and power. He didn't want to become a brutal. He didn't want to become mean. He didn't want to become aggressive. He didn't want to become insensitive. He didn't want to become uncaring. He didn't want to become greedy. He didn't want to become selfish. He didn't want to become racist. That's why he didn't want to grow up. Children didn't possess those things. Children didn't possess greed. Children didn't possess racism. Children didn't possess classism. Children didn't possess any of those prejudice-isms. Children only wanted to play. Children only wanted to love and someone to be kind to them. And that's all the King of Kings was to children, kind and an advocate for them on the battlefield where their future was constantly at risk. And it continues to be at risk today with the false flags and the British Rothschild Zionists in the Holy Lands and Rothschild Wahhabism in the Hijaz, and corrupting Islam, trying to corrupt Islam, trying to corrupt Christianity, trying to corrupt Judaism, trying to get them kill one another. The world, the future of the children are still at risk. And if the King of Kings were here, he would continue to fight for them no matter what they said about him. And that's why people like me love him. That's why people like me follow him. That's why people like me fight for him. That is why people like me advocate for his truth, his reality, which is reality because the universe supports it. It's people like me who follow him, live his legacy. Okay, so yeah, he didn't want to grow up. He didn't want to become ugly. He didn't want to become a persecutor like they did him. He didn't want to try to steal. He didn't want to steal nobody's wealth. He didn't want to hurt anybody. That's why he didn't want to grow up. Children generally don't want to hurt anybody. They want to love everything. He didn't want to kill the animals. He didn't want deforestation. He didn't want to grow up. Because to him, growing up meant those ugly things. Growing up to him meant being inhumane. That's why he wanted Neverland. Never did he want to be just like Peter. Never did he want to be like the human beings that he saw so vividly, who were so insensitive, even cruel, to the point where they tormented him and persecuted him just for being innocent. How can you persecute somebody just for being innocent? That's insanity. Because he didn't want to grow up and be ugly and inhumane. He didn't want to be cruel. He wanted to stay kind, generous, and giving. And that was a crime. They couldn't show that. They couldn't show, the natural, the normal side of what humanity, a human being is supposed to be like. No. They didn't want you to see that, because they didn't want the rest of the world to rise above the cardinal belt of Capricorn, right? They didn't want them to rise in the sunlight and see. They wanted them to stay in the darkness, undeformed, consciousness undeformed. So hide Michael Jackson. Label him a freak. Yeah, there's a freak in the world of fucking darkness that can't see. But for those who can see, we see the beauty. We see the light. But it takes intelligence to know that. It takes intelligence to know that. It takes heart to know that. Not being in the darkness. So he didn't want to be a part of that world. Just as I didn't want to be a part of that world. So you'd rather do anything than be a part of that world that's killing and hurting when you know what they're doing. So you try to isolate yourself and build a Neverland where you can be happy, and that garbage, that's insanity, it stays outside the gates. You create a shelter, a harbor of peace, of sanity, tranquility, away from the madness, the psychodrama. That world was weird to him. Okay? And that's supposed to be what it is to be an adult. What it is to be a man is to abuse a woman, to beat her, to cheat on her, to do her wrong, right? To be a misogynist, right? Huh? To deny her equal pay, to be a racist, right? That's what it was to be an adult. He didn't want that. He didn't want that. And only children are innocent like that. And what did the prophet say? To be born innocent like a child. To stay innocent like a child is the way to ascend. And that is why the universe is pointing you toward Michael Joseph Jackson.